I made a beef bourguignon for my parents, and you might be thinking, wow, what a great daughter to be doing all this work for them. To which I say, thank you so much. But this was honestly purely for myself, since their grocery budget is way higher than mine, and I wanted to make something I normally wouldn't because of expenses. It's also so nice to cook in their kitchen because they have so many great tools, like this Le Creuset pot, which I really want to steal. Although it was too small for this, and I had to sear all this meat in batches, which took way too long and also burnt the fond a little, so that was a little concerning. I did end up having to use 2 pots because my mom just has 2 Le Creuset pots, like, okay, which I should have done in the first place to save some time and not burn anything, but it's fine, everything's fine. My parents are also a little hard to impress, classic Asian parents, no one's really surprised, but every time I make something for them, it's never, wow, this is amazing, please make it again, which I know is probably unrealistic to get, but I'm an overachiever, okay? So, if there is someone out there that has somehow found a recipe that can really wow the older Japanese generation, please let me know. Also, I followed Julia Child's recipe for the most part, and that was the most confusing part, because why after putting flour in this am I putting it in the oven for 4 minutes, mixing it, and then back in there for another 4 minutes? Miss Girl, what? I'm confused. Why not just cook off the flour on stovetop? If anyone knows, let me know. Also, I thought these 2 pots were giving lemon and lime. And they're finally in the oven to simmer for at least 2 hours. And if you thought that was it, you're wrong. We have more to do, so let's go. A classic beef bourguignon apparently has pearl onions and mushrooms. I've never had a pearl onion before, but they taste exactly like an onion, just mini size. You blanch them to peel it easier, and I just salt and peppered them. It's now mushroom time. I have a pro tip. You cook them on a dry pan first, no oil. This makes them release their liquids, and after they've softened a little, that's when you can add your seasonings and oil. If you hate how some mushrooms get a little slimy and squishy, this is how you cook them so they don't do that. You're welcome. I also tried being fancy and made an infused milk for my mashed potatoes, but honestly, I don't really think it made that much of a difference. Probably because I didn't make enough. And once the pots are finally out of the oven, put in those mushrooms and onions to make the onions a little bit softer. I also did the ice and ladle thing to skim off some oil. I also added chocolate at the end, which is apparently a secret ingredient that a lot of the French use. I also add chocolate in a Japanese curry, so I think it's a similar concept, which I think is interesting. But you're finally done! I served it with some mashed potatoes, but my mom was like, couldn't we eat this with rice? You cannot get more Asian than that. Like, what? But honestly, she might have been onto something because I tried it with some leftovers the next day and it was mad good. I can't even lie.